The city wants you to pay a fine, but you didn't do the crime.
Now, nobody likes getting a traffic ticket, but imagine one showing up in your mailbox for a place you never were or for a car you've never earned.
Investigator Ryan Kath tracks down an explanation to what's driving these phantom tickets.
You know, I'm from rural Kansas, middle of nowhere.
On this January morning, Marcus Pitts started out the work week a long way from home.
It's about 3.5, 4 hours, depending on the traffic.
His destination, municipal court in downtown Kansas City, to argue his way out of a speeding ticket.
I always hear horror stories of people in traffic court, how long it takes to get your name called.
There's an interesting reason why Marcus made the road trip to plead his case.
Things just haven't lined up and seemed right.
It started when he got this notice in the mail, a court date for a speeding ticket along I-70 and Manchester Trafficway. Marcus only comes to Kansas City for Chiefs games, so the season ticket holder wondered if he'd been nailed on radar after leaving the stadium.
I started looking into it a little bit more and looked at the date and the time, and something seemed off to me.
The ticket happened on a Monday after a weekend the Chiefs were out of town in Denver. To prove he was also out of town, Marcus had a letter from his boss and payroll records showing he punched in at work more than 240 miles away in Sterling. But it gets weirder. The ticket showed a 2001 Toyota. Marcus drives an 09 Chevy Silverado, Chiefs red. And the license plate didn't match either.
That's why I did it. That's why I contacted you guys, you know.
Marcus wanted to know if it was a scam or worse, if someone had stolen his identity.
It just didn't add up to me, and I don't like it, you know. I'm a country kid in the big city, you know, but I'm not going to get pushed around.
We went with Marcus to court to find an answer and bumped into another confused driver.
So nobody can tell you why you got this ticket?
Nobody.
The city dinged Anthony Suspeniak for a couple of violations near the VA hospital on Linwood.
I was just horrified.
Once again, the vehicle on the ticket wasn't his Kia Sedona, the tag didn't match his wife's personalized plates, and the vehicle was registered to a woman in Jackson County. The city sent the ticket to Anthony's Olathe mailbox.
I'm stumped as to what is actually going on with this thing.
How often do you see this type of thing happen?
You know, it happens a lot more often than you would think.
But traffic attorney Chris Kopecky says the majority of mistaken identity tickets are easily traced to a friend or family member. The examples we told him about?
It is very difficult to understand how that could happen.
His advice, if you get a phantom ticket, don't ignore it. The court could issue a warrant, and that could buy you a ticket to jail.
The problem is if you don't handle these and address these head on, they can come back to haunt you, and very quickly.
A judge dismissed Anthony and Marcus's tickets, but both told us they walked out of court with more questions.
Unless somebody finds me an answer, I'm going to keep pressing it. I need to find out.
I still feel like I have no idea what happened, but at least I don't have to pay $141.
True, it would have been cheaper for Marcus to pay the ticket instead of taking the day off work and buying a couple tanks of gas, but the country kid wondered if his story might expose a big city problem.
Whatever's going on, I'm determined to figure it out.
So we were contacting police. They were kind of confused at first as well, but we did eventually track down an answer. Police are now issuing all tickets on these little handheld e-ticketing devices that you'll see up here on the screen. It turns out that the officer who issued the ticket typed in one number wrong on the driver's license, and that's why the ticket went to Marcus instead of the driver he actually pulled over that day.
So how often does that happen?
That's the big question. Court officials and police don't think it happens that much. They'd only heard of a few instances, but, you know, unless they hear instances like this, you really don't know for sure it's not tracked. And, you know, you see how small those devices are. Think about how many text messages you send where you miss one number or
where
letter.
the autocorrect messes it up too. Well, interesting. We'll see what comes of this.
I'll
Thanks,
see how
Ryan.
many emails I get.
That's right. Email it. Mark?